Okay, thank you very much for joining. So, as the theme of this year saying the hottest news from NAB, I also have to make concerns to him because he gave me only 10 minutes and there's no way to bring it in detail down. So I break it down to, let me say, a few buzzwords you maybe have heard and what will change. A few years ago, for all of us, it was very simple. We had one format to live with. It was PAL. And partly maybe we had to make an exchange towards NTSC. Then, a few years ago, HD arrived with 40 formats and roughly 5 to 6 new codecs arriving, like XTCam, AVCI, etc. And it made our world and life much more difficult. And now, there's something new coming. So, 3G and now 6G SDI, 10G SDI, 3840 XAVC, 4K Blu-ray, DisplayPort 1.2, ultra high definition. Bloody hell, tons of news. So what is it good for? Yeah, and it's all behind these letters 4K. Yeah, what does 4K mean? It doesn't mean 4 grands, it means 4K resolution. For the cinema guys and for the post-production guys, it is not really something new. But for the broadcast, it is something tremendously new. And one of the major differences between this is this resolution here. That is a broadcast one, and that is the one most of the guys know from the post world. It is a different resolution. It is not the same. So when I pick out a few things, so everybody who was on the NAB and these shows before, like CES and so on, has seen these amazing displays. Every of these vendors is now trying to push forward and get it sold. So Sony Bravias, etc., LG, Samsung, they look fantastic. There's only one problem, there's no content for it. Yeah, because nobody's producing yet in this format. So it's cool, okay, we have big new displays. They start at 20,000, but they will come down. The industry promised to 5 grand. Yeah, so start up discussions with your wife. And also, the industry gives us now tons of cameras. So, and it's going down to consumer level. So I have now GoPros, and I can do my 4K filming at home. And that would be one of the reasons to buy a 4K display, to see them in 4K. Another one will be end of the year, Sony want to release their PlayStation 4, which will be 4K capable as well. So I will at least play my games in 4K. But we want to talk broadcast. And there's not only this term 4K that is new, there's also something that is always mentioned as HFR. What the hell is that? The film industry worked for a long time in 24 frames. It was literally for 100 years the standard in the amount of frames. The broadcast world, for a long time, worked now interlaced. For us in the PAL world, 50 hertz. For the Americans in 60 hertz or 5997. And this whole new 4K story is coming also with a change. So we're talking now about full frames. So we're talking about progressive only. The 4K world will not have any interlaced anymore. With all full frames, and we always talk about these full frames in 50 or 60 hertz, respectively when we're talking stereo on 120 hertz. So HFR is nothing very complicated, it just describes a move away from interlaced video towards progressive video in higher frame rates. Next story. The Japanese Ministry, you can all read, of Internal Affairs and so on, what is the long story? This is the kick-off of 4K broadcasting worldwide. It is not a test scenario or something. They push the red button, and from this time on, they will have a permanent broadcasting output in Japan for 4K broadcast. So they use the semifinals in Brazil for the football to start up these, but they will really do it. So it's no longer a discussion. It is now getting real. This whole 4K story coming from Japan. Japan is a driving engine behind it. And it all started 10 years ago. 2003, NHK started a project called Ultra High Vision. And Ultra High Vision at the very beginning was only 8K. Yeah, as a Japanese, you can say crazy Japanese. 10 years ago, 8K. Yeah, Captain Kirk. So, no, they were just They were just looking, okay, we have now HD, and in roughly 7 to 8 years we have a saturation of the market. If our industry should deliver something, we need to have, in 10 years from now, something new. The industry might be capable of this, so we need to start our research, and they did. And only in the last 4 years, because of massive pressure of the industry saying, hey guys, 8K, we really can't make it, but 4K is possible, the 4K resolution came to it. So this is the younger kid of it. But still, the final goal is 8K for them. And also, there's an announcement from the Japanese that in 2017, they want to switch up 4K to 8K. So they see 4K only as an interim. It's a funny discussion when we think about Europe. We're still on standard definition, yeah, and asking for getting a few more HD channels to work. Within the last 18 months now, a lot of movement came into that. So there's a lot of display and camera manufacturers which announced new 4K supporting products. There were test transmissions also here in London due to the Summer Olympics in full 4K. Then the industry said, okay, ultra high vision sounds a little bit weird. We need a term similar to when HD was coming. We got HD ready stamped on any of our displays. There's now something new, and there's now Ultra HD. So the complete terms for 4K and 8K are now summarized under the Ultra HD term. And finally, also new codecs arrived. And I will just not mention everything, the most important ones, HAVC and XAVC, and I will shortly explain what it is. So when you see resolution-wise, that is what we mostly have today. That is what we have if we have premium TV at home, yeah? Like pay TV or a few HD channels that are broadcasted. That's 4K and that's 8K. That's a dramatic difference. Dramatic because it's not only the resolution, we have also, as I mentioned before, the high frame rate. We have this 60 Hertz, which means we have a much sharper image, because the frame rate is also very important for the sharpness of an image. So that is really outstanding. Another thing, NHK, and that is also a crazy thing, NHK introduced with the 8K ultra-high format is a new sound system with 22.2 surround sound. Could you imagine the discussion with your wives to have 22 speakers at home? I think this will wait some time, yeah, until we have it ready. But it belongs to it. So it's not only that they're massively looking into the picture, they also try to improve the audio quality. So HAVC, that was one of the vocabulary of the codecs. What is it? A few years ago, some very clever heads working in the H.264 started working on improvements. So they picked up several parts of the encoder to improve it. More or less, this is the H.265 group. It's high efficiency video coding. And the main advantage, or what they wanted to achieve, is for sure better quality, and the goal was to build a codec that has the same quality with half the bit rate compared to H.264. This will have a massive impact on the industry, because bandwidth is money, and if you can reduce bandwidth by the half, everybody will jump on it. We saw on NAB first prototypes running. We will see first, let me say, final beta products running on NAB, and shortly after, first units will be available on encoding and decoding side. We started to implement it in our system, so Clipsters and Venices on IBC will also have H.265 support, either on encoding and decoding side, because this will be the distribution codec of the future. It will allow 4K, because nobody at the time being could let me say, estimate the costs built based on a 4K transmission based on H.264. It would cost you 4 HD channels. It would be tremendously expensive. But when you go H.265, it's just 2 HD channels. And when you do clever management and multiplexing, it's not pretty much more bandwidth than it is used today for HD. Another story on the camera side. So Sony made a very big improvement in the new camera, and they also introduced this new codec XAVC. XAVC is also very close to the H.264. It's not an improvement like Havoc. It's the highest level of H.264 that is available. And so it's part of the H.264 standard, but it's level 5.2, which is the highest profile. And it was defined from the very beginning in different profiles from 8, 10, and 12-bit in all color schemes up to 4K. So these cameras are on the market, and all 4K broadcasting tests that have been recently in the last month made were mainly made with Sony cameras. Very interesting in that is the F55 because it has 4 times 3G output, which seems to be at the moment the way to do it. Not for the near future maybe, because as we all know, our OB-WANs are already crowded, they're overloaded by cables, and we just estimate to have 15 4K cameras with 4 times the cabling I have today in OB-WAN. Impossible. That would be a kill and a nightmare. And for that reason, many people are looking now into optical. There's 10G, as I mentioned before. I had to shorten up because I have only 10 minutes, which are literally gone. So there's 10G and so on. If somebody's interested in that, he could come down. I will be available for some time. There's a 7435, there's 2020, there's 2034. These are all based around fiber technology. It makes it easier to transfer data or data streaming in 4K. So need for 4K broadcast service, because we learned we have displays, we learned we have cameras, and now we need broadcast service to get it done. The first tests all have been made on classical HD servers. So the most of the guys utilized multi-channel HD servers because in principle a 4K image is 4 times HD. But the critical thing is using this technology instead of native technology is if you want to use a codec and you let the codec work on the borders of the picture, there's a big risk to get artifacts when you want to bound this together. The other problem is if you are in 4 times HD, how should I put titles on that? Yeah, so you need a native 4K picture to do it right. And this generation of services on build. Many of the industry try to say, hey, we have done 4K since ages. No, they haven't. We could say this because we really do it for ages. We have built the first 4K DDRs 1999 for the Japanese NHK. And we'll be in August again at NHK because we're talking about how we do it now. We have built special boards for them. We've established and been integrated as Roland Schwarz in the HDMI to 0 with the first adaptions of board for that are currently available for test managers. We're really into that. And since 7 years, we deliver products that could do 4K native. So we have the experience. Acquisition standard is not really clear. We see that x86 is new. Havoc is more for the distribution side. You can either do it also ProRes. Uncompressed would be too expensive. The data amount is too gigantic. There are still discussions ongoing. Baseband versus data streaming, as I said before, 4 times 3G seems to be the way at the present moment, but I don't know in the way it's going to because of cabling, weight, etc. And we see the newer upcoming fiber standards. 10G SDI is already available. We have also others like 7022, which is 25 gigabit optical SDI. So there will be a big concatenation of channels over optical paths, but it will take some time. So, and because my time is gone, I say thanks to you. If anybody is interested, I can continue in this sincerely for hours, but he gave me only in 10 minutes. Thank you very much.